On this episode of Lapeef, Let's Talk.
Or we just need that outside counsel.
Okay, you answered it because I was like, so you answered the question because that's what I was wondering. So you're saying that, and I'm just asking, JR.
No, absolutely.
I know JR jumped. I was about to try to argue you down. I'm not.
No, it's okay.
I was asking just to see. So let's say, like after a problem and you've resolved it, that's when you go to accountability friends.
Yes.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. I think that makes sense. Yeah.
Rebecca, I know you got to get off of here soon, so I just want to ask you. Yeah, I just want to ask you for the final thoughts. Is there any advice that you haven't given already that you think the people should know or should be practicing, either testing out within their relationships and marriages?
Well, I've always, I think every single one of my videos is we have to learn how to take personal accountability for our actions.
Kay got a scammer therapist.
No,
so hers is a little bit different.
Rebecca, let me ask you.
He was like, listen, I think you need therapy for life. I want to make sure that you're my client for the rest of your life.
No, Anton, no. I have a question, Rebecca, because I think I like how you said that's your personal opinion, right? I agree that certain situations require therapy for a certain amount of time and then it's over, right? But some people use therapy just as general maintenance. They might see a therapist twice a year, forever, like until they, stop seeing the therapist, whatever. So how do you feel about people who use therapy not to get through a trauma or not to heal from anything, but just as maintenance, like going to the dentist? I think Kayla brought up that example last time, I think. How do you feel about that?
So to kind of, I want to answer your question, but to kind of rephrase it too, I would say it's always good to have people in your corner that keep you accountable. My husband has a group of men that keeps him accountable. So he can go to that group of men and they're all married, they've all been married for a very long time, and those are his accountability partners. I also have a group of women who are married, who've been married for a very long time, that I can go and seek counsel for that specific situation. Now, I do agree with you that
you don't have no girl in your group named Ashley. No. I just wanted to make sure that you don't have no girl in your group named Ashley. You don't got no girl in your group named Ashley trying to be your accountability.
Look at Kayla's face.
I just want to make sure. All right, we good. Let's keep going.
No, but I will say when there are situations like my husband and I, our therapists, our premarital counselor, and our therapist were the same person for that particular thing. He was also our pastor who married us, okay? We go to him if there is a problem that we cannot resolve ourselves and that we've exhausted all the tools that we've learned.
Like your family, your tools, and your friends, and your accountability partners, and everything.
Well, I wouldn't say friends. I don't take my problems to my friends. The first thing I do is address it with my husband.
When you mentioned accountability, what did you mean? Because I think that might be where I'm.
So accountability partners and friends are two different things. Because I have women that have been married, and those are my accountability partners, meaning they've been in a relationship, they've been in their marriage for 15, 20 years. They've gone through that season of life that I might be going through, right? I don't go to my single friends. I don't
No, that's accountability friends. The married ones.
Yes.
Like, what do you use them for?
Oh, okay, you gotta let her finish. Okay, well, just wait till she finish and then follow up.
No, so it's more of like a sense of reflection. So my husband and I have this thing called courageous conversations, where courageous conversations is literally that, like we are having uncomfortable conversations about whatever the topic may be, right? We work through those, and then following that, if we haven't found a resolution or something that, if we still have questions about it, we seek our counselor and we've exhausted the tools, meaning like the things that we've learned in counseling, in premarital counseling, like you know, the timeout rule, where like we table that conversation until, you know, the next day, so we're not heated having that conversation. We've come to our senses and we can actually make logical, you know, have a logical discussion instead of being heated in the moment and throwing a tantrum. There's nothing good that comes from that. So like exhausting those tools that we learned in counseling. Then if that hasn't worked out, we go to our actual pastor, therapist, premarital counselor, and we have that conversation with him. If we can't and that's basically our check. That's like our main check. Now, on a reflective note, I go to my women who have been married and said, hey, we've gone through this recently. Have you guys gone through this? You know, did I overreact with this situation? You know, how does that, like, getting feedback from them. But at the end of the day, I have this conversation with my husband first. My husband and I, we don't share our issues outside of the house, in the sense of like, we are the only two that need to know. Our parents don't know when things happen, because they hold resentments for us. And expectations, we like to say expectations are premeditated resentments, right? So they have this thing where like, oh, well, I'm offended for you. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to hold that resentment towards Rebecca, right? And then we get over it. And now they're looking at you crazy. They're still looking at me crazy, right? So that's why I have this conversation with my husband first. And I don't share that until we've at some point have resolved it, or we just need that outside counsel.
Okay, you answered it, because I was like, so you answered the question, because that's what I was wondering. So you're saying that, and I'm just asking, JR. No, absolutely. I know JR jumped. I was about to try to argue you down. I'm not. No, it's okay. I was asking just to see. So let's say, like, after a problem and you've resolved it, that's when you go to accountability friends.
Yes.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. I think that makes sense. Yeah.
Rebecca, I know you got to get off of here soon, so I just want to ask you. Yeah, I just want to ask you for the final thoughts. Is there any advice that you haven't given already that you think the people should know or should be practicing, either testing out within their relationships and marriages?
Well, I've always, I think every single one of my videos is, we have to learn how to take personal accountability for our actions.